We've known for some time that being more physically active and sitting less can help to prevent our risk of getting certain cancers. It's important to note that breast cancer can affect anybody because all human beings have breast tissue which can potentially become cancerous, so it's important for us to check our breasts or our chest regularly for any changes. When it comes to cancer, much of it is not in our control, but for some cancers, being more physically active and sitting less are what we call modifiable risk factors, which are things within our control. A recent large-scale study published in the British Journal of Sports Medicine adds to the evidence that being more physically active and having less sitting time can help to reduce the risk of getting breast cancer. The study in question was a study of more than 130,000 women, some of whom had breast cancer which had spread locally, some which had breast cancer that had not spread at all, and they also had a control group of women who did not have breast cancer. The researchers looked at a number of different factors amongst those women. They looked at the size and the type of cancer that the patients had, the extent of the cancer, and they looked at how abnormal the cells were, whether or not they had undergone the menopause or not, genetic variations between the individuals which are associated with different levels of physical activity, the overall physical activity level of the study population. They looked at how vigorously they exercised, and they also looked at how much sedentary time the participants had. So it sounds like science fiction, but it's actually scientific fact that the things that we do in life can affect the way that our genes get expressed. It's actually a subject called epigenetics. Our genes have codes within them that help to give our cells instructions about what to do, and those instructions can be positive or negative. The researchers found that in those women who were more physically active, they had a 41% less risk of invasive breast cancer, regardless of the tumour type, the extent, or how normal the cells were. Women who were both pre- and post-menopausal also had a lower risk of invasive breast cancer if they were more active and less sedentary. Those women who exercised on 3 or more days a week vigorously had a 38% lower risk of breast cancer than those who didn't. It's important to note that being physically active is really important, and one has to consider one's sitting time as a sort of separate entity. So we also know from research studies that it almost doesn't matter how active you are. If you spend a lot of time sitting, it's an independent risk factor for getting certain conditions like heart conditions, diabetes, and others. So there's also evidence that even in people who have cancer already, that their quality of life and even in certain scenarios, their survival outcomes are better if they're able to exercise. Of course, not everybody with cancer is in a position where they're able to exercise. So everybody, even in those people who already have cancer, stand to benefit from being more physically active. The best way for us to all live a healthy life is to make time for moderate or vigorous intensity exercise a few times a week, and to reduce our sitting time where possible.